Hello and welcome to the Stability Report. Today on Russia 2024. So here we are talking about political stability of a country, and what we want to know is how vulnerable is a country to ruptures in the political order. And when there are ruptures in society, it can be a general strike or an ethnic group rising or separatists or terrorists, a virus coming, could be meteor maybe falling in a critical place, some critical infrastructure being damaged. Then how vulnerable is society? Will it lead to unbalancing of the political order? Will the ruling elite and the regime come under pressure? And these things. It's important because nowadays in global politics, this is quite prevalent, and when we come to Russia, it has even been the policy of the State Department in Washington, apparently, to destabilize Russia for a long time. So But if you have interest in countries and you want to get into deeper understanding of the political dynamics and the question of political stability, you can do policy analysis, and actually my aim is to reveal how I do that, but I do that in separate videos, and also when I did that at university for master and PhD students, and have tried to teach it. It does take some hours to get the method, and also to understand the theory behind it. And so today it's simply like I'm focusing on doing a policy analysis of Russia 2024. But should you get interested in getting deeper into what is political stability, I put a link to a video about that separately in the description below. But also, if you want to get deeper into the theory and method behind, a good place to start is with the concept of political constitution, and I put also a description to videos about that in the description below. The policy analysis has 5 focal points. Political constitution, it's the fifth here, often neglected element in such analysis, too neglected to my mind. But I'm gonna go through them one by one, starting out with social mobilization. This is about the tensions of the social order in society. How tense is it? And it's about economic development. So when society is in developing economically, then also this has great effect on the political stability. The mobility opportunities. Do the citizens see themselves as able to do something with their lives? If not, the grievances can be so strong that they want to they want to oppose the political institutions. How strong are the political institutions? How well is the state actually put together, and how well does it function? Yeah, this is the fourth. Yeah, and then fifth, the political constitution. What is the covenants, the basic covenant in society? How does that fare with the legitimacy of the government, and crime rates, and different things. All are very important concerning the topic of political stability. The first three I deal with under the headline of political condition. Today are about what is the condition for political stability, and then the fourth is about the political form, the state. The political institutionalization is about the political form that shall regulate and mend the political condition, and how well it does that is very important for the political stability of society. And then, of course, basically we have political constitutions like the fundament of society, where the political institutionalization, the political form, is the building, and then the political condition is the surroundings, the economy and the cultural order and the social order of society, that the political order is working within. So, but we are focusing on describing society. We're not talking about whether we like this or that. We are describing how strong is society concerning its political order. If there is a rupture, how vulnerable is it then to this rupture? And this I analyze like that. So starting out with the political condition, and what I do is I make an analysis of the synchronicity. So I say, like, in 2024, how is Russia? But Russia diachronically, so it's like where Russia is now is of course a product of its history that starts in the beginning of the 1990s. So the Russian Federation is a nation state, and it is the result of the Soviet Union collapsing, and Russia is primus motor of the Soviet Union, and has therefore the central administration there. We often talk about, when it's Russia, we talk about the Kremlin. So, but you have a political condition in Russia in the 1990s that has been described as a narco-liberal political condition. It's pretty colorful, but it's about that the central administration is more or less traversed by plutocrats of tycoonly rich people all of a sudden rising out of the nomenclatura, and is able to create enormous fortunes, and this undermined the central administration, and we have a polity that is challenged. So after the Soviet Union, the gross domestic product of Russia is just dropping for 10 years in a row, and there is in the end of the 1990s sort of collapse of the economy, and the powers that be managed to somehow begin to reset and reverse that, and therefore the last 25 years we have seen Russia changing its political condition into a less tense situation. We had huge in the 1990s and early zeros, beginning of the current century. We still had separatist movement in Chechnya, and there was Russia was on the verge of interstate conflict, but got somehow to the root of that, and nowadays, when we talk about political tension, it is due to the social order in Russia that we have division between people of different ethnic groups. Russia is a multi-ethnic society, and there is a huge difference also in how protected you are by law and order, whether you live in the city or in the country, and whether you live in Moscow and St. Petersburg or the rest of the country. There is also quite a big difference in terms of how much you contribute to the gross domestic product and your income and these things. So there are lots of social tensions that at times spill over into political tensions, and Russia has to deal with that, and this is a challenge. Also, in the economic order, there are distinct challenges. Russia's economy is very based on the primal sector. So, the Russian economy works fundamentally on export of commodities, and oil and gas is huge. But Russia is a huge country. Many different ethnic groups, but also very diverse, and just huge, and has a lot of resources that it sells to the world. And when we talk about Russia 2024, there was a rupture in the economic order in 2022, where the Kremlin has decided to invade the Ukraine, which is a neighboring country, and there was a reaction from the surroundings that many countries, particularly the G7 countries, so the rich and powerful Western countries, were imposing sanctions on the Russian economy, and this has revealed challenges for Russia in its economic development, and also caused some concern about development. But when it comes to the primal sector and the secondary sector, so also industry, Russia has shown itself to be quite resilient, and actually there has been a redirection of its focus in terms of getting new markets. So when the Europeans no longer wanted to buy oil and gas from Russia, then nowadays they have got to sell it to China and India. India has a large refinery business, and from there the same oil actually it spreads on the global market. So Russia has managed to rebalance its economy, and also the rupture to its industry has sought new sources of components, and it has also experienced that demand can be filled by new Russian companies when the markets are no longer dominated by the Western goods. Then there has been a surge in Chinese goods, but also a new set of opportunities in the economy for making a new enterprise and small industry. And we are seeing, in terms of mobility opportunities, that they are improving in 2024, and people are actually coming back. So when the war started, and already a year before, in the summer of 2021, we could see people starting fleeing from Russia, wanting to avoid the draft. Could see that there was something, and maybe they were, wanted to seek new opportunities elsewhere, because they were maybe even tired of the current regime, and they are actually coming back now, many of them. So quite a deal of them. I think we are talking about maybe up to 40% of those who left are coming already back, and there's low unemployment rate and good opportunities in Russia, and so the political condition with its intermingling of different orders, cultural, economic, social orders, kind of like displaying tension and challenges, and we would say still high tension, but this is a relatively new nation state, and actually in terms of regulation of society, it's Russia is improving, and this is the next category that I'm going into: political institutionalization. So we have a young nation state, and the level of state regulation has moved from low, absent in the 1990s and early 2000s, to now could be categorized as basic. And this is actually quite an achievement. State building takes place in generations, because the norms and techniques and competences of institutionalization, the process of institutionalization is something it takes. It's quite, you can rapidly tear down an political institution, but to build it again, it takes a long time. So it's like the state is slowly but surely improving, and actually the case of Russia is quite a beautiful learning case in that respect, in the field of state building. If we are talking about almost from scratch, or even from minus, to build up something that works relatively well. Our conclusion about the Russian state will be that it's fragile, but it does feature a few things, and here I will point to the factor of political unity, that Russia showed itself able to reinforce unity, get the distribution of power consolidated, so that there is policing of huge parts of the realm. So Russia is huge, and of course in the northeastern parts of Russia you cannot have consistent policing, but a feature in Russia is also they have a large riot police. And this is on the verge of what we call political policing, but still in terms of reinforced unity, there is this big and very strong entity of 160,000 police trained in reinforced unity. So in Kazakhstan in 2022, January 2022, there was all of a sudden some shooting and an attempt to make a rupture there, and destabilized by means of uprising, and Russia was able to lend this force to Kazakhstan, they managed to quite rapidly restore public order as the government there saw it fit. So this is one thing that is a feature here, and more challenged for Russia is mass formation. So mass formation is about the population feeling that they belong to the Russian Federation. So it's about their political identity. So do they feel a citizen of the Russian Federation? And especially in the countryside, you will see that some people will distance themselves from the political identity of being Russian. Maybe because they have another ethnic identity, or they have been somehow gotten into trouble with the Russian state, but cannot flee. So there was a very good movie that was called Leviathan, that was made about the Russian, how it's in the countryside, that you can this man, he had bought a lot of land, but this lot was taken from him because the mayor and the local nomenclatura and the justice system simply took it away from him, and this kind of corruption can also disenfranchise people from the political identity of being Russian. But and quite a few things can. And when we talk about mass formation, we look at group grievances. So we could go to the Fragile States Index and look up group grievances, and then we can see how many groups are actually so irritated by being in Russia that they kind of like could almost think it would be better to not be Russian. But there are some challenges with the mass formation, but this is also about national identity forming, and the school system is getting quite well at teaching Russian history and in a consistent form, and the political identity of being Russian is actually quite widespread, and it has also some it's also quite agile political identity, if you could say that, because it's not so much tied up with an ethnic identity of being so it's Russia has as a territory been around for a long time, but the Russian Federation is struggling with getting its political identity to work, but improving, and elite formation is quite robust in Russia. So in the 1990s there was a lot of trouble with, but there was a political elite that was able to consolidate and use the Kremlin to consolidate itself as the only elite. And therefore the tensions between, for instance, the nomenclatura and the plutocrats who are trying to make fortunes, they sometimes opposed to the Kremlin, because the Kremlin also has to do foreign policy, and often the nomenclatura would just like to have the opportunities to send their children to schools abroad and to make business with everybody, and so they can be opposed to the foreign policy of the current political elite that can be quite nationalistic. But you see also how this nationalistic political elite can influence mass formation and thereby get a dynamic going that actually enforces political unity. Another factor besides political unity that I will appoint civic homogeneity is not Russia. There is a monarchical political elite, and they have consolidated power as the elite, the political elite. So there is no competition or skirmishes or recognition of other political elites to speak of. But all in all, that is quite enforcing of unity. So it's like we should not overlook that Russia is experiencing political unity, and also that we in the wake of the successful war in the Ukraine has also experienced a rally around the flag, backing up of the political elite, and reinforced political unity under the banner of nationalism. But other factors here, I will just mention that there are quite a deal of challenges, geo-economic infrastructure, and when it comes to social homogenization, quite big challenges in the degree of political institutionalization in many key areas, but the bureaucratization and the central administration, the Kremlin in particular, has been improved, and there was an attack experienced in the Kremlin by the sanctions imposed on Russia from 2022, very harsh sanctions, and we have to conclude that concerning the National Bank and the financial institutions and the finance ministry, these have reacted with technocratic precision towards the challenges, and this reinforces the idea that we have actually bureaucratization in Russia from the center, and then weaker when we come to the periphery. But in the center, both the bureaucratization of the army and the bureaucratization of the police, and to some extent also the bureaucratization of the legal system. So that is often also, I think, underestimated and actually quite important feature of the development of the Russian state. So political institutionalization, it's fragile, but given its point of departure and it's doing quite well, and is now stuck with infrastructural challenges that the state has a huge challenge with the geographic composite and complexity, and the sheer size of the thing is right. So I get to the last tier of analysis, and that is the political constitution. And there are 4 elements here, and it's very important to see with Russia that the fundament of society is actually quite sound. So this because from the analysis until now, we could maybe get the idea that you could maybe push it over by getting it bogged down in a war, or maybe you could arrange some uprising from maybe some new elites or the nomenclature could be somehow used for destabilizing, if that was your policy. But should not overlook the political constitution. The fundament of the Russian society is strong. Government legitimacy is high. You may not like the elite, but many people remember the Soviet Union, and they remember the 1990s, and they don't want any of that. So they are very happy, especially those who are old enough to remember the malice of the past. Quite happy with the government, and crime is also getting better, and the demographics is balancing. Even the overuse of vodka, that was a huge issue for the family structure in Russia in the 1990s, and also was challenging towards the labor force. Russians are pretty good at engineering and math, and exceptionally good at it actually. And if you drink too much, then you will have troubles keeping up to date. But demographics in terms of political constitution, it's a huge issue. Also, if you have a large young population who does not see any future, then this can also fuel an uprising and the idea of a revolution to change the political constitution or something like this. Political policing, quite efficient in Russia. I already talked about the elite formation and mass formation, that you have substantial indoctrination. This is an important part of political policing, which is about securing that hearts and minds of the population are content or even happy about subjecting to the political constitution, to the social pact of society, and if they are not, then to deal with that. And there we have also detention facilities and also in Russia signs of opposition to the current political elite can be singled out and dealt with. Also here in political policing, they also score quite high. So when we look at political stability overall, that the fundament is so strong. You can see in the math, these numbers probably don't tell you anything. It's like, but yeah, I put a lot of variables together, and then I divide the political condition with the political form. Yeah, so what happens in society? I divide that with how does the state fare, and then I divide that again with how strong is the fundament of society. Yeah, so you see here, PC, political constitution is high, 508. So yeah, you have quite a deal of social tension. The political institutions that shall contain and regulate the social order and the tensions within the social order is fragile. 0.36 is like, if we say that the Central African Republic is close to zero, then Russia is halfway to the level of the United States, which is 0.72 in my calculation. Yeah, where I, for instance, use the Fragile States Index, and I use World Bank data and different data concerning the effect of political institutionalization, government efficacy, data concerning how big the security apparatus is, and legitimacy and so forth of the state. And then when we come down to the political constitution, it's actually strong. So 2.28 doesn't say anything because it's just a number. But you will see next week we get to Israel, and they will have a different number in the political constitution. So there you can. So it's relative. It's an index. So it's compared, and Russia in this index, it's when I make my calculation, then it becomes 53, and 53 is in the middle of the index. So the index goes from 0 to 100, and Russia is actually quite a deal more stable than you may think. So it's less vulnerable to ruptures than you may have thought. And that way, it's a good learning case to begin with here. So I divide these 0 to 100. I divide it into a color code. So 0 to 20 is blue, 20 to 40 is green, and 40 to 60 is yellow. Yeah, and 53, therefore, in my color code, it's yellow. So, but it. Of course, yeah. These are just numbers, and but when we get to Israel next week, and I'm planning on doing the week after Iran, we will see that these two are orange, And so their vulnerability is quite a deal higher. Yeah, the USA is green, so its vulnerability is lower than Russia. But in terms of trending, then we shall see that the USA is trending from green towards yellow, and Russia is actually trending from yellow, but it's a far way to green. 53 is quite some some time before it will be in the green zone. But the Denmarks and Norways and Luxembourgs of this world is in the blue. Yeah, but when we get to the red, we get to Venezuela, Pakistan is actually on the verge of going above 100, where I have a color purple. But it's like just to give you the idea that Russia is, it has infrastructural issues, and what that means. Yeah, there will be a video about political constitution and to get deeper into what that concept is. I leave a link to that in the description below. But the conclusion here is that Russia was born in a storm, but has actually set its course out of the storm and away from the maelstrom of getting bogged down in political instability, and has been able to even find an impetus for industrialization again in its recent trouble, and a sense of national unity also quite prevalent for the time being. Today is the 11th of May 2024. So last week there was new Russian government installed, and they also had their national holiday with the victory parade, and that went fairly calmly, and it's was displaying quite a remarkable and high degree of national unity. So the conclusion of the stability report is that Russia is fairly stable and seems to be even trending towards becoming less vulnerable to incidents of political nature. Yeah, thanks for watching. It's it takes some time to get through this analysis, but as mentioned, I'll do it again next week, where I take Israel, and then we can I can proceed there with because it's simply a method that I'm using, and I use the same method every time, and I don't have any particular affinities for countries. I find them, most of them, fascinating, and quite also the dull ones are interesting because I have this scientific perspective. And if you want to learn this method and the theory behind it, then subscribe to my channel and look out for the stability report. Thanks for watching. Share, like, and subscribe. That will help a lot in spreading this word. See you on the next one.